who's your player that's primed to break out? Who's the guy who's going to take a huge step forward this year and really cement their name on this team?
As far as I would like to put it on the defensive side of the ball, I think there's a lot of weight that's thrown the wide receivers' way this season for WSU. I mean, we've mentioned it before, Tay Martin leaving. We lost Desmond Patman and Aesop Winston last year. We have a new offense. There's going to be a lot of pressure put on this wide receiving core. And the one player that's going to elevate that is Renard Bell, I think. Renard Bell has been here for the past couple of years, slowly kind of creeping his way into being a breakout player on offense. His touchdowns have done nothing but increased over the past couple of years, had 3 first year, 5, and then 6. And honestly, I'm projecting him to have 10 touchdowns this next season. You can quote me on it. I think he might reach double-digit touchdowns with this new Rolovich offense. And when a new head coach comes into a program, what's the first thing they're going to look at? Well, probably the existing staff that's there, considering that we had a staff blow up in the football department. Can't really do that. Now, Rolovich is coming into Pullman. He can't really look at the staff department. So what is he going to look at next? He's going to look at the players. He's going to look at the veterans who have been here. And what better veteran receiver to look at than the guy who has not only been behind great receivers like Desmond Patman, Kyle Sweet, even Tavares Martin Jr. back in the day. Like, the fact that there's a veteran receiver still on this team who plays that slot position that Rolovich has taken advantage of in previous seasons, everything is checked for him to have a breakout year.
Yeah, before I kind of mentioned my guy, I want to bring your guy down a little bit, and it's nothing personal to you or Renard. I love Renard Bell. He's one of my favorite players on that team, but I think one of the things you're forgetting is that Jameer Calvin might come back this year. Jameer Calvin plays that same slot position. He was out last year with a bad injury, and he might have been the most talented guy at the slot position. And so the outside receivers, there's a lot of receivers that are gone, but they're all outside receivers. The slot guys are all still around other than Brandon Arconato. So Renard Bell is going to be competing with Travell Harris.
Arconato blew everyone out of the water last year with his receiving.
Yeah,
and
but Renard Bell
put him in place.
Yeah, Renard Bell is going to be competing with Travell Harris, and he's going to be competing with Jameer Calvin for those spots. So, I think we could possibly even see a bit of a downtick in production for Renard just based on the fact that Jameer Calvin's coming back and there's going to be a lot of mouths to feed at that slot position. But the guy I want to mention is Travion Brown. Not the biggest name that a lot of people know. Pac-12 fans definitely don't know who he is. Cougar fans hopefully do. But when you're looking at a breakout player, you can do this one of two ways. You can look at the stats and the numbers and the guys who leave and the opportunity, or you can just pick a guy that you really like. And I went with the second one. I just love watching Travion Brown play football. And it's not to say that he doesn't have bad numbers and he doesn't play good on the field and he doesn't have opportunity, but I mean, he was a guy number 82 at linebacker, so he already stands out. And every time he was on the field, I swear he was right there, either making the tackle or right there. His numbers don't suggest it, but, just 28 tackles, 15 solo, 2 for loss. But the way he plays football is just incredible. So if he does get to listen to this, if you hear this, Travion Brown, you are my favorite player on this team. You're going to have a huge year this year.
Cody, if we're shooting for a follow on Twitter, then hold on. We got to do it at the end of every segment if we're going to shoot for a follow on Twitter.
I just wanted to let him know how much I like him as a player. I'm picking him as my breakout player because I just believe in his talent. The opportunity might not be there. Jahad Woods and Justice Rogers are both coming back. If they go with 2 linebackers again, he won't necessarily have a starting job. But if they go 3, he's that third linebacker. And I'm doing this breakout prediction just based on his talent and based on his potential, which I think is absolutely huge.
So we're not going off of stats, is what you're saying. So we're not going off of stats.
I mean, like I said, he doesn't have the greatest stats, but he didn't have the opportunity last year. I'm just saying he passed the eye test better than almost anybody. He was just a freak athlete on the field. I mean, he's a linebacker that's playing nickel. They started him at nickel a handful of times when they played teams that run. So I think that speaks to the type of player that he can be. And I just think he's going to get a chance to get on the field this year. And when he does, he's going to just blow people away because he's that type of player. I think he's going to just rack up tackles and have a huge impact on the field.
Yeah. Lord knows we need some help on the defensive side. I'll give you that. Okay. And judging by what you've described of his ability, he seems like a great athlete, but it's just going to come down to the tackle department. Which I mean, is he going to be a like lockdown tackler that we need? Because there's been a lot of I like to call this term the Earl Thomas tackling method. Earl
Hmm.
Thomas, big time safety. You know, Earl Thomas is all time great safety, but when he would go and tackle people, he would just throw his body at them and rather than wrap them up. Can this guy wrap up? Because that's really what it comes down to at that linebacker position. Can you finish a tackle?
Yeah.
Athleticism can only get you so far.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, athleticism can get you to the tackle. Obviously, he's going to have to make it. But I don't know if I mentioned this, but he was a true freshman last year. So everything he did was his first big time action, thrown into the fire. So I think the fact that he'll have had that experience, whatever work he's gotten to do over this kind of weird offseason, I think will help. If he's learning from Jahad Woods, who is one of the best tacklers and best linebackers in the Pac-12, I think that's huge. And, I would rather have a guy who can get to the tackle and not necessarily make it, as opposed to a guy who can make every tackle but doesn't get there in terms of growing. Because I think you can teach somebody how to tackle, but you can't teach somebody to be just a freak of nature and an athlete. So
No,
obviously, I don't want him to get to the tackle and miss every tackle, but I'm just saying that's the part you can teach. So I think he's going to be able to learn that, and he's going to be able to improve his tackling while keeping his same athleticism. And I think he's going to go. He's just going to be insane on that defensive side of the ball.